Center for the Ethiopian Educational Information and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Welcome to today's lesson on the features of a democratic system. In our last lesson, we discussed the obligations and duties of citizens in a democracy. We learned that rights and responsibilities are closely related. As citizens, you have rights that you are entitled to use and to enjoy. Along with these rights, you have certain constitutional obligations, such as the responsibility to vote and to become educated. In this lesson, we will turn our attention to the features of a democratic system. We will pay special attention to transparency and accountability. Let us begin. Many different forms of democracy have developed in Africa since colonialism and the authoritarian regimes of the 1980s. The transition to democracy has not always been smooth. In fact, most African countries have experienced some form of upheaval as transitions between different systems of governance took place. Many democracies operate according to a multi-party system. This has sometimes been opposed in African nations. Sometimes, traditional systems of government have been combined with democracy, leading to interesting combinations of government structures. One good example is Botswana, where there is a mixed government. Policies are discussed in traditional public meetings before being accepted nationally. This system receives criticism because the traditional systems often exclude women. Sometimes, countries experience violence in response to transitions of power. Other times, democracy is abused by those in power, as was the case in Kenya. When Jomo Kenyatta and Daniel Arap Moi were in office in Kenya, the democratic system was subverted by corruption. If democracy is functioning properly, there are certain features that protect the system from these kinds of abuses. Two of these features are transparency and accountability. Students, think about the meaning of transparency. When something is transparent, you can see through it. A glass window is transparent, for example, because you can see through to the other side. Transparency in a democracy means that the actions and decisions of the government and its officials are visible to the citizens. They are made public through reports, news items, and public meetings. Transparency means that citizens are able to know exactly what is going on. Nothing is hidden from them. It is very important to have transparency. Let us do an activity to help us to understand the reason for its importance. Students, suppose someone you know has told you a lie. What happens to your relationship with that person? Write down 4 consequences of being lied to.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you are able to think of many consequences of being told a falsehood. When someone lies to you, you instantly lose trust in that person. Also, you begin to wonder if anything else that person says is true. You become suspicious. You start to view the relationship in a negative way, and you might even choose to stop associating with that person. We can see how dramatic and severe the consequences are when a person breaks our trust, can we not? This activity showed the importance of transparency. When things are not transparent, people do not know what is going on. This means that they may become suspicious that the government is keeping secrets from them or lying to them. As a result, citizens will become uneasy. A lack of transparency leads to political unrest. Therefore, we can see that transparency in government is related to national security and peace. Article 12 of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia's Constitution states that the government and its officials are required to conduct their affairs in a transparent way. Students, how is transparency linked to the freedom of the press?
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back. I am sure this was an interesting question to think about. Transparency prevails when the people have free access to know what officials do and why. One of the main ways that people gain this knowledge is through the press. This means that the press must be free to relate information in an unprejudiced way. If the government controls the press, news will not be conveyed in a transparent way. Another important feature of democracy is accountability. This means that governments and their officials accept responsibilities for any failure in official duties. Transparency means that the people will know when a promise has not been kept or when something has gone wrong. The people have the right to hold their government accountable. The government must justify its actions. Students, let us do an activity to practice the concepts of this lesson. Suppose that you are creating a students' council in your school. How would you ensure that your Students' Council is transparent and accountable. Form groups of 3 or 4 and have a discussion.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back. I wish I could hear your ideas, as I am sure they are excellent. Transparency in the Students' Council could occur through the creation of posters conveying information. If the school has a newspaper, articles could be written about the council. At assemblies, leaders of the council could speak and accept questions from students. If the members of the council are expected to report regularly on what they have accomplished or on what they have not yet achieved, the Students' Council would be accountable. Students, today we have talked about the importance of transparency and accountability in government. You have learned that these two features of democracy are related to political peace and security. In our next lesson, we will discuss federalism. Until next time, thank you, teacher. Thank you, students.